is Silja, and this is Hanging On By a Thread, a knitting podcast, mostly, and, you know, anything other crafty that I feel like talking about. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hitting play. This is my second episode, and I'm still getting the hang of this. I tried to make it a bit cozier here today. Got my basket of yarns, and I'm going to talk about that later. But yeah, so thank you for being here. If you're curious about more things on social media, you can find me at silmoa, most places. And I'm most active on Instagram and Ravelry. So if you want to friend me there or follow me on Instagram, that would be great. And everything that I mentioned during this episode, I will try to link to in the just below here. And, you know, just the quick links. And I'll try to post like a more extended notes in my new blog, which is called, it's so new I haven't gotten the, the name down, buyathreadblog.com. I think that was the domain I was able to get. buyathreadblog.com. So yeah. Okay, great. Let's just get right to it. First up, I've got On the Needles. So, on the needles. First up, I have my Selbu Mittens that I had 1.5 of last time. As you can see, I've completed the mittens. I say completed. They're missing thumbs, obviously. I want to put the year on the thumb as per the pattern, but it's not 1965, so I'm going to have to put another number, 2018. And you know what they say about mittens, and if you don't do the thumb straight away, they can be left there for quite a while. And yeah, I didn't feel like doing them. They've been left alone for a week, and I'll try my best to have the thumbs done and call it a finished thing next time I do a podcast. Hopefully next week or every 2 weeks. I'm not sure how many I will be doing. Yeah, let's hope it doesn't have to say 2019 by the time I get thumbs on these. So that's that. It's pretty quick and sweet. Next up, I have a couple of new cast-ons. I really should be getting on with finishing the various projects I have on my needles. But as I said last episode, there are issues. I am still not brave enough to pick up my unst, and I don't have the yarn for the cardigan that I'm doing, and yeah, anyways. Last time I showed you the Stranger cardigan, which has got no love this week. I did get a fair bit done, I can show you that. Since last time I don't know how much I had done, but I've gotten a fair chunk of, like, this is one panel, right? So that's that. And that's just gonna be continued. Pick it up whenever I feel like doing some cables, which I haven't felt like doing this week. I had more pressing issues, you know, life came in between, and I needed to just knit what I felt like. That's what we're all that's what we all want to do, right? Just feel good when we're knitting, so we knit what we want to knit and what we feel like knitting. You know, if that means casting on another project, so be it. And then you have other cast-ons. They come because, you know, that you want to give a gift. So I have cast on another Hansel Hap. This time I've already knit a half Hansel for myself, like as a scarf or a shawl, I guess you would call it. The Hansel Hap is a pattern by Gudrun Johnson, and it was the first ever shawl that I actually started and completed. and it was so fast. I enjoyed it so much. I was thinking I want to knit one immediately again, and you know, other things in the queue. But now I had an excuse, so I need to make a baby gift. And you know, the full Hap is traditionally a Shetland baby blanket. I think Shetland, yes. So I cast on. So I've got not so many interesting whips this week, but you know, this is basically just big garter square. It's becoming a square. So I did the first triangle. You start at the little bottom there and you just increase every row, bum bum bum, until you hit a magic number, and then you start doing decreases to 7. So once I have 2 stitches left on my needles, I get to pick up all the stitches around and knit the lovely lace border. So this is gonna be a very squishy, lovely baby blanket that can also be used as a scarf later, you know. So my camera setup totally failed me. I was like using this as a little remote screen. Don't work. The remote app for this camera that I'm using is not very good. But the good thing of that is now I'm going to stop being distracted looking at the little screen below, and I'm actually going to look at the lens. I was talking about the full Hansel Hap, which I am doing in Nøstebarn again, 2-ply merino wool, which is an organic merino, and it's in the colorway 811, very inspired, which is basically just a very natural undyed color. It's supposed to be very good for baby things. You know, there's no chemicals whatsoever. It's just the pure, there's lots of lanolin still in the wool. And it's going to be so soft and lovely. I'm going to use some of my many leftovers, woolly leftovers, for the border. And I'm thinking it's going to be some nice autumnal mustards and rust colors with maybe some grey in, because I know that's some of the favorite colors of my lovely friend who's going to be receiving this for their little boy. So I'm very excited about doing this, and I have a deadline because we're going to Barcelona in October and I have to be finished by then so I can give it to them. If you're watching this, you know who you are, and I hope you'll be pleased. I am enjoying very much knitting this. Not much more to say about that. I'm sure I'm gonna show it again once I start doing the lace border and it becomes a bit more interesting. Next up, I have started another cast on, which is inspired by Amy in the Stranded podcast, the Rocquaine along. So I dug up my trusty pom-pom and found the pattern because I had this lovely Madeline Tosh DK weight yarn, which I bought ages ago, and I have 1200 meters of it. That's so good. It's the Modern Fair Isle in the Madeline Tosh DK. So I have 1200 meters of this, proper sweater quantity, right? And I had a project in mind when I bought it, but as happens with a lot of the things for me is that I get so inspired by a design and I'm like, oh, I'm going to buy yarn for it. I get the yarn, I swatch it. I'm not convinced by like the feeling of the drape of the fabric or the color, like the texture doesn't work with the color and so on. There's always a something. So this has been sitting waiting for the perfect pattern to arrive, and I think I have found it with the Rocquaine. I did swatch for it, and with the pattern, the sizes that's given in the pattern, it calls to have some ease, It's intended to have 10 centimeters positive ease. But I'm kind of falling in between two sizes, so I need something that's in between the size 2 and the 3 to get a nice positive ease. I don't want it to be too chunky, or not chunky, too wide or too snug. I want a, nicely fitting sweater. So I am doing some modifications on this. First up, I am changing the gauge, not changing it, I'm knitting in a different gauge, so I get a size that will fit me better. So instead of the what's the gauge here, it was 19 stitches per 10 centimeters. I'm doing it in 22 stitches per 10 centimeters, which should put me smack in the middle if I knit the bigger size. So I'm knitting size 3. Yeah. Also, reading through the pattern, I was like, there's a provisional cast on that you knit it around and then you split and you knit flat. And I was like, but it's just stockinette and then it's garter pattern, this texture pattern. Why? So yeah, I decided, and then you knit the split hem at the end. And I really don't mind knitting in flat. My purl stitches have practically the same tension, you can see here. So I cast on and I did the ribbing with the hem first, and then I'm knitting it flat. So this is the front I've started on. Actually, I cast this on last night, so you can see this is gonna be a breeze. Just such a joy knitting with this soft, beautiful merino yarn. You can see the lovely patterning coming out. Yeah, I think I need to knit about this much more of the stockinette, and then I'm gonna start with the pattern on top. I might also do the arms knit flat and from bottom up, from the cuff and up. I'm not sure, because they're supposed to be you knit flat and then you fix the shoulders, then you pick up around the armhole to knit the sleeves down. But I have been kind of annoyed lately with all the top-down sweaters I have been knitting. It's like, okay, it's lovely to do the yoke first and it's just like nice to fit it and everything, but it becomes so big and hard to handle by the end of it. It's like you have one sleeve left if you knit the sleeve last, and you have the rest of the jumper, and you have to, it's just a hassle. So I really enjoy having it in pieces. I can pick a piece and take it with me, knit on it, and it's just like you complete the piece, you start on the next one. Sleeves, you can just knit the sleeve, take just the sleeve with you if you just want to, you have to do the sleeve island, as you call it. So much easier if you can just go round and round and round and round and knit it on the bus, but without having to bring the whole bulk of the entire sweater with you. So I'm a fan of knitting in pieces and from bottom up. But I like top down too, so it's not like that's wrong or anything, but I hate it. I do a lot of that. Anyways, but I think this is going to be my Rocquaine along. And if I can keep my mojo on it, I might actually finish it and before the knit long ends. So let's see. It's exciting. Yes. Do I have any more whips that I want to talk about? No, I don't. It's time for finished objects. So I have, let me see my list. I have 2 finished objects I want to talk about today. One is a bit cheeky because technically I guess it's been cast off for quite a while, but technically not finished, so I'm cheekily including it here. It is another gift knit, a baby knit, for a friend who recently had a little baby boy. And I'm going to be meeting up with her in a couple of days, so it's the only chance I have to show it off before it gets to its new home. This is the Snooze jumpsuit by Pickles, and it's made knits with extra fine merino by Pickles as well, held double, and it's super soft and squishy, and I think it's still big enough because this is a size 0 to 4 months. And yeah, it's got these little covers for the hands and for the legs too. It's for sleeping in, so you know he can be flapping around his hands and little feet and fall asleep in the wagon. You can just flip them over and get them covered. It counts as a finished object this week because I finally sewed in the buttons. And it's washed and blocked and lovely. And yeah, it's a shame my little boy is too big for these now. It's going to be so squishy little tummy there and everything. I'm so pleased. I hope my friend will like it. And next up is my No Frills cardigan. Yes, it is finished. It is finished. It is nearly blocked. It's still a little humid. I actually soaked it last night. It still needs to dry out. But that is it. It turned out really nice. And the merino Nusterbarn wool has kind of bloomed a little bit. And as you can see, the fabric is quite nice. It has a bit of drape, but it's not, well, right now it feels heavy because it's got some humidity still. But the fit is great. I did, of course, try it on before blocking it, and it seems to be a very good fit. The arms are just the right length for me, for once, and the bottom hem goes right on top of the hip bone. So you get that nice, well, not completely cropped, like between, it's like an in-between length, so it's nice. I did add a bit of length to what the pattern called for, but I think because I'm taller, that makes sense. It looks great, and I can't wait to wear it. It was pretty economical as well. I used this is all that's left. I used so nearly 2 balls of the Nusterbarn merino, which has 600 meters per skein, so it's really, it might feel like it's a pricey skein, but you get a lot for it. And the garnsur skrantin silk mohair, which I got 2 of them since I was alternating. Clearly I didn't do that evenly, but this is all that's left. So I don't know, maybe I have like for a little baby sweater or something, maybe help with a different yarn. We'll see what happens with this. Yay, new sweater. I think that was it for my finished objects. Yes, it is. So let's move on to what I've called obsessions and distractions. So, of course, in this segment, we will have the stash enhancement, acquisitions, whatever you want to call it. I have had some nice additions to my stash this past week. Yesterday, I did pick up at the mail, post office I should say, these 2. Look at that. That is beautiful. This is King Fiber yak single. It's hand dyed. It's the colorway Punjabi, and I was browsing Tangled, what was it? Tangled Yarn website, I think. And I just fell in love with that. I was kind of looking for something to do the Camille shawl that I was talking about last time. And I also found this skein of Skein Queen. This is Selkino. The colorway is Green Hem Common, and it's 70% superwash merino and 30% silk. So it's really lovely like that. And the King Fiber one is 65% superwash merino, 20% silk, and 50% yak. So it kind of has more of a halo going, and I think that would be cool for that stripe texture contrast in the shawl. They look gorgeous together, and I think they kind of, that's good now. Brings out the eyes. Although looking at this, I also have in my stash from before some possible options. These are not new acquisitions, but I thought they might go well with these two new skeins. So I have some 4-ply Titus from Eden Cottage Yarns. I have these two colorways. This nice yellow is Harvest Gold, and this beachy color, I'm not sure. They've been in my stash for quite some time now, and I'm not quite known what to do with it because, you know, look, that doesn't really work. So I was thinking that, though, that could be beautiful. Or even with the yellow. I'm not so keen on that one. But the yellow could go lovely with the green. So, you know, like that. Or the green with the beige. And then we have the other option of adding a bit more of a rustic texture together with this. You have this halo and soft merino silk thing going on. And you could pair it with the more rustic merino of the Nuster Barncos. I had a few of these skeins gifted to me years ago, and I feel like I need to use them. So that could also be an option. I don't know what to do. Because then this would clearly be like a mustard shawl accessory. Yeah. And this would be green. Some mustard and green are my colors, or we could do them together and find another pattern that requires 3 colors. Yes. No? Yes. But yeah, I received these in the mail and I've been waiting for them. And I knew about the toll limit in Norway, but I had kind of forgotten about it. So these were pricey skeins. I think they were about, I was like, I'm going to get myself a treat. And of course, the total of these two together was above, including the shipping, was above the 350 kroners limit. So if you buy for below 350 kroners, you don't have to do tolls or pay the taxes on them. But yeah, they came above that. But I never expected the taxes or the toll declaration to be that pricey. So I paid another 200 for, it's like I paid for another skein. So yeah, these I'm pleased to get them, but my partner was like, how can you buy such expensive yarn? Might be a problem. Feel bad and you do some online shopping. Picture yourself up, don't you? But they're so gorgeous. Okay, enough about those. I also have, so these are destined to become some version shawls, and hopefully the chamomile shawl. I think that would be scrumptious. And next, in my basket of joy, I have, look at this. This is gonna be, so I got 3 of these, which is 100-gram skein of Tinder pälsullgarn, because I had kind of 50 left. I wanted a sweater quantity of this lovely, this is Tinder pälsullgarn lime colorway. It's 2107. Along with this one doesn't have the tag, but I think it's the dust stövet rosa, dusty pink of the same, and the cognac colorway. So this and this charcoal grey that I already had, I'm going to be swatching for the Tresta. I think it's, yeah, the Tresta pullover from Lane magazine, which I don't know which issue it was, 1 or 2 something. It's a few issues ago, so they finally released the pattern on its own. So I got that pattern because I was like, oh, nice worsted weight jumper for winter. I have one already, the humorless jumper, but I wanted another Icelandic yoke. And then I saw the color combo that on Instagram. It was Wool in Finland. She had done this amazing color combination, and as soon as I saw it was with Wool, of course, but as soon as I saw the colors, I'm like, they have those colors in the Tinder pälsull, which is one of my favorite yarns of all times. So I got them to split me up some 100-gram hanks. They do that. They make so these hang on the wall, and they're 100-gram hanks, and you think, oh, I don't need 100. But if you ask, they will split them for you, and you can get some 50-gram ones, so you won't have so much left over when you're just doing a little bit of color work. So that, oh, that is going to be beautiful. I didn't tell my partner about this purchase, so our secret. I don't think. If he started watching these podcasts, I doubt he watches this far into it. I hope not, because, you know, this is me talking about all the yarny and woolly things so that he doesn't have to listen to it. So I doubt that he will watch this. Hopefully not. Anyways, this is going to be the Tresta pullover. There's no question about that. Not like with the other skeins where I'm like, oh, they could be so many things. And I also finally got that hank of Malabrigo sock in the Playa colorway to finish my What the Fade shawl, because it was stuck with like a little there, and there's like 8 stripes left of this that I couldn't do, but it's on the end of the shawl, and they are incredibly long rows. So I don't have enough to finish it, but now I do, and I can finally tick it off. That's a work in progress. It's been hibernating since January, I will say. So yes, that's happening. Not sure when I will pick it up, but now I can, which is always a good thing. But you know, I've got these all other distractions happening. What else? Yes, I have one more thing that came into my stash. With all this, I watch a lot of knitting podcasts. I mean, that's why I want to do this, because I enjoy them. There's been a lot of talk about socks and self-striping socks, and I thought that seems nice. I need socks. I didn't bother too much about knitting socks when I was living in Barcelona because, you know, quite frankly, didn't really get cold enough for me to feel like I needed socks. Not even in winter. So, but now, cold floors, I'm thinking I'm gonna have to knit socks for me, for my partner, for my kid. I need to knit socks for the whole family, obviously. But I don't want to knit super complicated lacy things, and I don't want them to be completely plain either. So I did go along with this Malabrigo one. I thought it's sad to just order one, right? So I also put in my basket this Schoppel Zauberball Stärke 6. So this is, I think, pretty decent sock yarn. It is virgin wool, 75%, and 25% nylon. So that should be nice and strong. It's stripy. It's not hard stripes. You can see on the label they have included this kind of preview on how it will knit up, or no, it's not how it will knit up, but well, how the colors will come. So that's handy. And this past week I have been browsing online for self-striping sock yarn, like a maniac. I have, up until now, managed to stave off the urge to just buy them, because, you know, this week I had these two come in the mail, and I had to pick up these two in the post office and pay for them. My partner's seeing this, and it's like, it's my money, it's my hobby, it's what I do, right? But I still feel kind of guilty when it's like, oh, another package in the mail. So I'm trying to, stagger the purchases a little bit. It's a funny thing though, now that I have access to all these lovely rustic wools, I'm kind of craving for these silky, hand-dyed things that are a bit harder to get in Norway, What's up with that? What's up with that? But yeah, I've got all of these new things, lovely, lovely yarns. They're going to go back in their baskets. Be nice and decorative here again. Yes. Oh, look at that. Lovely, lovely. I do love a basket of yarn, don't you? Look at that. Oh, pretty, pretty yarn. And yes. So I was saying, like, the Tracer cardigan sweater, I'm going to do swatching. And it's, yeah, swatching. It's an underrated thing, because it might feel boring to, like, I just want to get on a knit, and I don't need to knit a swatch for a shawl, but it's not just, you don't just swatch to get the size right. Of course, if it's a garment, you will knit to make sure that you're hitting the gauge, or you can do your calculations to make sure you get a garment that fits. I think this is very important. But also for shawls and for all these things where you're not exactly like, the most of us don't buy, for example, the colors that are in the pattern. Like, sometimes you just fall in love with the whole thing, like the pattern and the colors and everything. You buy exactly the yarn, exactly the colors, and yay. I've done that, obviously. But yeah, sometimes you just don't know. Like with my shawl, I will swatch with these to see if I actually like it together, if the drape is right, if the colors do what I expect them to do. This is it has multiple colors in it. I do not know yet how this will work up. So yes, I think swatching, underrated. It's not just about gauge. It's not even just about getting your color combo right. It's about the feel of the fabric, about how it will drape. So yeah, for example, like I just ripped out the Stranger cardigan that I was doing. It's made with yarn that I ripped out of a previous project, and if I had swatched properly for that, I might have already realized that this was not going to give me the drape I wanted for that garment. because, you know, if you have a bit of boob, a boxed cardigan, if there's no drape on it, it's just going to stick out. Yeah. So yes, that's it for me today, and you know, thank you for watching. I hope to see you again next time. If you enjoyed this and are interested in hearing more of my knitting chatter, you just subscribe or, you know, like the video. I would love to hear your comments, so please put comments below. Hopefully I will get better at this. What can I say? This is episode number 2. And yeah, hope to see you around. Bye.